Yo, what is going on, my dudes? Welcome to another RuneScape news coverage video. For this video, we're going to do something slightly different. So we're going to take a look at some of the old stuff I've covered in the past that has yet to make its way into the game. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video.
Jagex is the illest. What you talking about, Willis?
Alright guys, so if you've been following my channel, you know I do cover a lot of news coverage regarding the game, the updates, what's to come, that kind of thing. So I have accumulated a bunch of folders for every update, things that I use to gather like images, videos, whatever the case may be, clips, that sort of thing. And I have a section dedicated to future updates. So I thought it would be cool to just take a look at that folder, look at some of the updates in it that have yet to come into the game, just to reinform the community. Maybe you may have not heard of these. Some of these are potentially as old as a year and we still haven't seen them in the game. And if you do like these kinds of videos, I can bring more of it. Although Jagex is being a lot better than they have in the past regarding bringing ideas to the community and not following through on them. They usually just talk about things that are already on the way. So those folders tend to not grow in my computer, but I'm sure I can find more things to talk about if this is something that you guys are interested in. Anyways, the first thing I want to talk about, and this is a design document, so I don't necessarily know how far into development, if at all, it ever got, and that is a sequel or a spiritual successor of sorts to the Desert Treasure Quest, or a Desert Treasure Part 2, or I guess that's not necessarily the best of names because it was more so following the same themes as Desert Treasure, not necessarily a sequel to the story, although it did involve the same archaeologist NPC for Desert Treasure, but it was designed to be somewhere in the jungle in the Karamja area. Still involved you going across the game world, collecting 4 different artifacts, guarded by 4 different bosses, and it followed, the same skeleton, mind you, not literal skeleton, I know this is RuneScape, but it followed the same framework of Desert Treasure, which is why it was called such. Had really no idea of what kind of rewards we could expect from this kind of quest, but it did seem like some interesting stuff. This was actually pitched by Mod Raven, but again, like I said, it was just a design document at the time when I first talked about this, so it's really up in the air in terms of how much, if at all, work was ever done on this update. Moving on, the next couple of updates are far more straightforward, so we're gonna just quickly power through them. The first is an Invention checker. Now, the idea behind this update was you would simply just right-click your Invention icon at the bottom of your inventory, the same button you do when you want to drag something to disassemble or, check your components. And a simple right-click will have the option to view your Invention materials or your Invention machine details. And when you click on the Machines Detail button, you'll get a bunch of text in your chat showing you all of your machines, what they currently are outputting, how much they have outputted, materials you have left in those machines, etc. right there. So you don't have to walk over to your machine, don't have to be in the Invention Guild. Anywhere you are, just click that button in your inventory. I don't know the status on this update, but it's been a long time since we've heard any news on it, and was a neat quality of life fix. Hopefully that gets into the game at some point. The next update was a slight buff to the Legends Cape. This one was pretty straightforward, just a little buff in terms of the stats to the Legends Cape, just to make that quest a little bit more lucrative, although, it's not that much of a difference. Here's what the stats would have been, and it would also have a right-click option to teleport you to the Legends Guild, which isn't a extremely useful tele, but if they ever do update the Legends Guild to incorporate new features, then an update like this would be much more desirable. Again, this is another thing where I do not have the status on, so it's really up in the air. Next up, we have the price checker tooltips. Again, another very straightforward update. Basically, all this would do is when you examine an item, it would not only tell you the alch value of that item, but the current GE price of the item. So you don't have to stand there guessing when you get a new drop or whatever the case may be. A simple right click will give you a decent inclination as to how much that item is worth. And the next thing I want to talk about is a graphical rework to the Sears Village and surrounding area. This is something I wanted to see for a long time, but has been shelved, so I don't know exactly when it will pick up again. but hopefully we will see a turnaround on that. It's another fairly straightforward topic, although on a much larger scale, reworking a much older area in the game. And hopefully we see more areas in the RuneScape game world get a fresh lick of paints like we've seen with some of the other areas like Port Sarim and Falador in the past. Moving on, there was some proposed changes to the Vital Sparks. As you know, many people don't really use the other Vital Sparks aside from the Limitless Sigil, and the idea was to break them up into 3 different types of sparks, all different and corresponding with the different sigils: the Golden Touch, Limitless, and Unsullied. They would all drop from the same monsters and would obviously have different prices and different drop rates depending on the different ones. The Vital Spark itself would still exist in the game, but would be a more volatile spark that could be converted into the 3 different types. This was just to have more access to those other sigils that don't get to see the light of day because of Limitless and are ultimately locked behind the price of Limitless due to its usefulness. That was worked on by ModPie, but I don't know how much more has been done on it since, so it is what it is. And that pretty much concludes what I wanted to talk about for this video. I didn't really touch on the Group Iron Man and the bank rework because those are shelved indefinitely, so I have nothing really more to say about that. I don't expect them anytime soon, don't expect any work to be picked up on them anytime soon. So it is what it is, unfortunately. But do let me know what you guys think about anything discussed in this video, any of these updates, if they're of any interest to you, and if you want to see videos like this going forward where I touch on things that I've reported on in the past but we've yet to see the light of day. Keep in mind, it's not like I'm getting any new news on it, I'm just refreshing everyone's memory that these things did exist at one point or were ideas in Jagex's mind but never came to fruition. With that, I'm gonna wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet, you want to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I am out. Peace.